You're listening to BSRN, Box Studios Radio Network. And now it's time for another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. Very excited to have this gentleman on and talk to him a little bit about himself and, of course, the team he plays for, which is the Grand Rapids Griffins. And he plays a little bit of wing, plays a little bit of center. He's a natural-born center, but they've been moving around a little bit. He comes to us, obviously, from the Griffins, and you may know his father, but we're not going to talk about his father that much. We're going to talk about him. He is Landon Ferraro. Landon, welcome to the show. It's good to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
Now, of course, your father is Ray Ferraro, who spent a lot of time in the NHL and everything. Was it easy for you growing up, having the father that you had, to be able to play hockey, to learn to play hockey? Was this like a predetermined thing? Not necessarily they said that you were going to play hockey, but was it just kind of in the blood, in the genes to do so?
Well, I mean, it's something for sure that, obviously he was all for it as soon as I picked up a little mini hockey stick or something like that when I was a little kid, but it was always something that I was drawn to. I grew up playing soccer and baseball as well, and I liked them, but it's at the same time, I mean, hockey was always, that's what I wanted to be doing. If I could do it all year round when I was a little kid, I would have for sure. And for me, I mean, you talk to any kid, he loves his dad and he wants to go to work with him. And some guys, that's to an office. For me, that was to a dressing room, and I'd get to go hang out there and be around all those guys. And the big thing for me was seeing, I got to grow up seeing how hard they worked, at the same time how much fun they had in their profession. I mean, that was something that I've carried with me, into my career now.
I've actually seen a lot of guys either talk about how they regretted that their dad traveled so much and whatnot, but it sounds like to me that you had the opportunity to spend that much more time with him around the players, around the hockey rinks, and you probably enjoyed that just as much as anything else.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would have loved for my dad to have been at home every day, but, with his job, that wasn't it. But, I mean, at the same time, when he was home, made it that much better, and me and my older brother would go to the rink with him for practice if it was on a weekend, and we'd bring our skates and we'd skate before practice, and then the big guys would go out, and then we'd mess around in the room and watch, and then as soon as practice was done, we'd put our skates back on and go right back out, and my dad would stay out and mess around with us for a bit until he got off, and then we'd kind of just kick around a bit more until he was ready to leave. So I mean, it was something that I was lucky that I always had extra ice I could go on, and get to have fun with my dad at his job. Where a lot of other professions, that I'm guessing lawyers don't want 6 and 8-year-olds running around their office during hours on a daily basis. But I was lucky enough to have that.
Now, you obviously are from Trail, British Columbia. Tell everybody a little bit about Trail. When I look at it in the map, I'm looking, let's see here, it's north of Spokane, Washington. It's basically east of Vancouver, but it's in the middle of really kind of nowhere. And honestly, growing up in the country myself, to me, that was the best area to grow up as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I was always traveling around wherever my dad was playing, on the island or LA, Atlanta, but I'd go back for Christmas and spend a couple of weeks there, and then I'd spend all my summers every summer growing up. I'd spend in Trail in the lake that was about 45 minutes away. But I mean, it's something that I never played minor hockey there, but you go into the Comico Arena there, and it's filled with history. I mean, they have two world championships in men's hockey. They have so many good players that have gone through that, and I mean, not just hockey. I mean, at the same time, you know, I have Jason Bay that's come out and has played, you know, had a great career in the MLB, and I mean, you know, there's so much success in sports, and that they take so much pride in it that you know, it's something that, you know, you go back there and you just feel it.
Now, you were drafted by the Red Deer Rebels. I think it was second overall. Talk about that time for your family, because that's a pretty big time. You know, generally kids who grow up in Canada or have any Canadian ties, when they get drafted into either the OHL or WHL or the Q, you know, it's a pretty big thing. So, what was it like for your family? For you, I mean, you got chosen second overall.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really exciting year. I was lucky enough to have, you know, some pretty good players that were on our team. You know, my line mates in my second year Bantam, that's your draft year. One, he played, actually got drafted the next year to Red Deer as well, and he had a good junior career. He's done now, but then my other one was Curtis McKenzie, and you know, he's in the top 10 in scoring in his rookie year here in the American Hockey League down in Texas. I mean, he's a really good player. So, I mean, we had real good players on those teams, and that helped out everything a lot. But, you know, on top of that, you know, I had the same coach for my second year of Fury, and then my 2 years of Bantam, and John Batchelor. And, you know, he was a huge part of my minor hockey and, you know, developing me. And, you know, for, you know, to go where I did, it was really, you know, it was exciting. You know, my family was really happy for me, and at the same time, it's, you know, I was the one getting picked, but, you know, it's a lot of work by my mom. You know, my dad was on the road a lot, so, you know, she was the one driving me and my older brother to practices and to games and all that stuff. So, I mean, it's her hard work that went into it as well. So, it was, you know, it was an exciting time for my family.
And the 4 years at Red Deer, pretty good years, I got to imagine. I mean, you've played with some pretty good players that came out of Red Deer, including Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't, during my time there, we didn't have the best teams. My first year, I think we only won 17 games out of 72. So, I mean, it was a rough year, but at the same time, you know, I was, you know, 16 years old, first year away from home, playing, you know, my first year junior, and, you know, I was on a line with Brandon Sutter. So, I mean, you know, I got to watch him every day and, you know, get to learn from him, which was a, you know, big thing for, you know, young guys. So, I mean, that was good. And then the second year, you know, we had a bit better team, and, you know, that was my, you know, NHL draft year, and, you know, everything went really well for me personally. So, I mean, that was nice. And then the third year, you know, well, I mean, we got a glimpse of it my second year with you know, Hopkins coming in, and, you know, he played his 5 games, and you could see it even when he was 15 playing against, you know, he'd be playing on our top line against the other team's 19 and 20-year-olds, and he was still, you know, miles ahead of everyone. And, you know, just the raw skill that he had was, you know, or still has, obviously, is just ridiculous. So, I was watching him all of my third year. I was hurt a lot of that year, so, I mean, I watched a lot of games, and, you know, it was awesome to watch. And, you know, on top of that, he's even a better person. So, I mean, it's, you know, when seeing all the success that he's had has been, you know, it's been nice to see.
Yeah, and then your last year, you didn't play Major Junior for Red Deer. Your last year, you went to Everett. Talk a little bit about going over and playing with the Silvertips.
Yeah, you know what? It was a good learning experience for me. You know, obviously, it was the first time I've ever been traded. The only time I've ever been traded. But I mean, you know, it's a, you know, different situation. You go in, and, you know, the only person I knew on that team before was the person I got traded for, and Byron Fraze. So I went in not knowing anyone, and, you know, just trying to experience that. And then, you know, I had a lot of injuries that year, so, you know, it's just trying to, you know, it's the whole mental side of the game that comes into play there. Is, you know, trying to stay in it and do as much as you can so that when you come back, you can be effective. And, but, you know, for my last year junior, I couldn't have asked for anything better. I mean, I was, you know, from my door in Vancouver to my billet house in Everett was 2.5 hours. So, you know, family got to come down lots and see a lot of games, and I was up in BC playing a lot of games in the Western Conference. So, you know, my last year before moving out here, you know, I couldn't have asked for anything more.
What's a trade like in Major Junior? I mean, I know it was the only time you've been traded, but, you know, how did that come about? I mean, coach just bring you into the office and tell you about it. How did it work out for you?
Well, mine happened during the summer. You know, I knew it was coming. There's just some things that have been going on during my last year in Red Deer that, it was time for, myself and the Rebels to kind of move on, and, they got a player that helped them make their team better, and, I would have liked to have helped Everett a lot more, but, it just wasn't in the cards. I had hernia surgery that year and missed a lot of the year, so, but I mean, it's a little different, so I was just working out one day and, just saw my phone on the ledge kind of, light up, so I went over, looked at it, and saw it was an Everett number, so I kind of knew at that point that was where I was going, so I answered the phone, and Doug Sotart, the GM at the time, was on the other line, and was telling me that that's where I was now, so, I mean, it was a little different of an experience. 1 minute I'm training to go back to Red Deer, and the next I'm training to go to Everett, so, I mean, it's a little different, but I was excited.
Now, of course, the next season you get to start off with Grand Rapids, and talk a little bit about going into training camp for the Detroit Red Wings.
I mean, it's a cool experience. I mean, you go, they have the rookie camp, the rookie tournament in Traverse Cities that 8 teams go to, and you play through that, and I think that's the best thing for guys just coming in, because it really gets them moving. Like, you've already played 5 games by the time main camp opens up. So, I mean, you go into main camp, you're nervous as heck, going in, 1 minute I'm skating with guys my age, and then the next I'm on a team with Pavel Datsyuk, and it's, it's a little different, so, but I mean, you've played 5 games, and they're coming in just trying to get their feet wet again, so, it kind of gives you a little jump start to kind of calm the nerves, that that you can play, and you can get moving and just relax, so, it was obviously you learn a lot being on the ice with those guys, so, it's a good experience.
A lot of changes in your second year with the Griffins, and your numbers kind of balanced there. With 24 goals and 23 assists in the regular season, but a really good team, some good veterans that were brought in, and you guys really had a really good regular season. Before we get to talk about the playoffs, talk about last year's regular season with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, all the guys going into their second years took a big step, and were a big part of that team last year. But then there's 2 other main parts that really put our team over the top. We had a couple first years come in, and one being Thomas Yurko's. It took him probably took him till Christmas to get used to the league and what he needed to do to succeed. But I mean, once he figured that out, I mean, he took games over, and he's showing it now with the Wings that he's a player that is going to be a very good player for a long time to come. So, I mean, that was a big part of it. But then I think the biggest was, like you said, the veterans that were brought in, and Tristan Grant, Brennan Evans, and Jeff Hogan, and Nathan Page were they were huge for us. They're all what you need from the veterans in our league is you need guys that can obviously play, but on top of that can show the way for the rest of us. And Hogan came in on a tryout, and 5 days later he's our team captain and signed to the team. So I mean, it was a big, it was a whirlwind for him. But I mean, he came in and he calmed our team right down and made sure that every day we were doing things that were going to make us better between him and Blash. And I think they did it. Obviously, they did an unbelievable job with our team, and kind of took us from just being happy to be a playoff team to pushing it to where we ended up with the championship.
Absolutely. Now, how good, in your opinion, is Gustav Nyquist? I mean, is he going to be a top 6, winger in the National Hockey League?
Without a doubt. I mean, it's not that he's going to keep scoring and putting up points at the rate that he has. I think in the last 8 games he's at 8 games he's got like 9 goals or something like that. It's putting up more assists. I mean, obviously that's not going to continue, but no, he's the top 6 guy in the National Hockey League for sure. Just his patience with the puck and what he's able to do with it is things that I wish I could do. I mean, I can't slow a game down like he can. I mean, when he gets the puck, he can start moving, but at the same time, he's opening up space for himself and being able to make plays that other guys just can't. And I mean, that's gonna transfer for him. And this year has been a big year for him, and now he's going to the Olympics, taking Franzen spot. So I mean, that's gonna be another huge experience for him that's going to help him out.
Well, he and Thomas Tatar were so very good for you guys last year. You guys obviously get through. You get to Syracuse. Everybody's heard about the Syracuse Crunch and what they did as the Norfolk Admirals, and now they're back into the Calder Cup Championship. Why were you guys, in your opinion, not afraid and had so much confidence playing against them, even though everybody knew about the Syracuse Crunch and Norfolk and what they had done over the past, kind of really 12 to 14 months?
Well, I mean, for us, we knew what our team was capable of. We really trusted each other, and we knew what our strengths were, and that's how we were going to beat teams was with our speed, and we were very good defensively. And I got to say that we were probably one of the best teams at being quick in our D zone, so that we weren't spending much time in there. As soon as it got in, we were all in our right spots. We knew where guys were, and we could get it out quick, and we were back on offense. We could transition fast. And we knew that was a strength for us. And going into the finals, I don't think there was one person that thought we were even going to take more than one game off of Syracuse. So for us, it was no pressure. I mean, we knew that we could win, and we knew that we wanted to. And we got the first game, and we kind of looked at it as okay, they've been kind of blown out, or they've been blowing teams out. So they weren't really ready for us. So now game two, they're going to be on top of it even more. So we need to make sure that we push even harder. And we took that one as well. And then that's when we really started realizing that we play like this, we can take this series and we can make sure that it's ours, and we can put it. We won the next game, and then we went back, when we had the 2 games at home to win it, and it showed how good their team was as well, and how they could be down 3-0 and still push that much harder to make sure that they could get a couple games out of us. And then just for us, we knew that it was our time in Game 6. We knew that it had to be Game 6. We didn't want to give them a chance at a Game 7. So I mean, we put in everything that we possibly could have, and I mean, things went right for us that game. And there was still, I mean, we were only up 1 goal at the time when they had us in our zone for a little bit. And I mean, Peter Mrazek made I think it was 1 unbelievable save, and then the next one he pulled off the line, and then we went down and scored shortly after. I mean, he saved that game for us, and then we took it over after that. So I mean, there's so many parts to it that just clicked.
What's amazing about your guys' team in those finals, and I watched every single game, and I was at 3 of the games in person, including a game in Grand Rapids. The arenas, both arenas in their own way, were so very intense, full of passionate fans. And I think at least in my opinion, from talking to Coach Blashill, his calmness, his ability to see past those moments, of the fans in either arena being so electric, transferred down to you guys. And it seemed like when you guys went out there, nothing bothered you guys. If something went Syracuse's way, it didn't seem like Grand Rapids was affected by it.
Well, I mean, we had so many times during the regular season that we'd have a bad game, and we'd come back strong just because we knew that if we keep, and that's something that Blash continues to say, is you keep doing the right things at the right time, you'll win more times than not. And some nights your team plays a great game, but there's just a couple bounces that go the other way. That's not going to happen every night. If you're a good team, you're going to win more times than not. And for us, we could get down a goal or two, and going into the third period, and we knew if we played our game, that we had enough skill and talent that we could outscore them in the third to make sure that we'd come out on top. And we did it throughout the playoffs. There were so many times that we were down in games that we came back and won in the second and third period that a lot of other teams would have just kind of brushed aside and waited for the next game that we kind of took back for ourselves.
Now, obviously, the team brought the Red Wings, and I know right after the Calder Cup championship, you guys win the game in Syracuse, and I actually heard some of the Red Wings higher ups actually saying, to some of the veterans, hey, make sure you call this guy and everything. And it was one of those things where I kind of knew that some of these players were going to come back. And you guys have had a very good season this year. You have 62 points, the most in the Western Conference right now. To me, you guys remind me a lot of the Binghamton Senators, who I see every single day. And just in the fact that nothing kind of really phases you guys. You guys keep plugging along. Both teams have had 2 streaks of 7-game winning streaks this season already. Very similar teams and everything. Is it just everything is going just kind of like it was last year, this year? Blash is doing really well coaching-wise, and you guys are just kind of following his suit?
Yeah, I mean, there's been more ups and downs this year for sure, just because of guys getting called up and being sent down that, you got to get past. And, we're a younger team again this year. We were lucky enough to bring back all the veterans and, bringing another one in David McIntyre that has been playing well as of late once he's kind of settled into our systems here. That he's been playing real good hockey for the last month and a bit. So I mean that's helped. And then we got some guys down. Jordan Tutu's down here, and Corey Emerton and Michael Samuelson's down now. That there are more guys that helping us make sure that we stay on course here. But at the same time we got unbelievable crop of rookies this year. Between Ryan Sproul and Marchenko and Ouellette and Yarncroc, and there's so many, and Pulkkinen. Like there's so many guys that have come in and they're playing key roles for us. That they're playing big minutes and they've been playing well. So I mean, we've had games where just like any other team where things just haven't gone right, and the big thing for us is knowing that the next game we need to change that right now. We can't let it slide for 2 or 3 games because those are points that you're going to need back later in the year. And on top of that is you don't want to just make it into playoffs. You want to be rolling. This is the time to push so that when playoffs do come, your team's at the best that they can be, and that's when you need to be playing. So it's been a good year.
Landon, I always tell people that the teams that play very, very well generally, and this is a general statement, but it generally is the truth. The players on those teams really like each other a lot. How much fun have you guys had over these past 14 months?
It's been an unbelievable time. I mean, it's the best year and a half so far of hockey that I've ever gotten to play. We have really good guys that it's fun to be at the rink every day, which it makes it that much easier that you go out and everyone you don't need to babysit anyone. Everyone goes into the rink. You have a ton of fun before practice. You get in the gym, you do your work, you get on the ice, you put in your work, and then you have a ton of fun after it. Guys know the right times that you can be having fun now, but now we're on the ice and it's time to go to work. So I mean, it's been an unbelievable time, and I couldn't ask for anything better in my second and third year here.
One of the European countries, and this will be my last thing before I let you go, one of the European countries that are really producing some top quality character guys and just regular hockey players is obviously Sweden. I've seen a lot of the players come through here through Binghamton up into Ottawa, and obviously you've seen a lot of the players. You've been in training camps with some of the, just Detroit is just, it's like half Sweden, half Canada, and maybe a few guys from the U.S., but honestly, it's one of those things where Sweden is really producing a lot of top-notch character guys, but also very good hockey players. What do you think it is about these guys? You've been around them, you're friends with them, you're teammates with them. What do you think it is about Sweden that's really kind of producing these really top-notch guys?
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't know how they work their minor hockey over there and get their kids into playing, but they all have tremendous skill, and so they are obviously, they're putting a lot of emphasis on that. But at the same time, I think the biggest thing is, I don't know that I've met one Swede that I haven't liked.
Exactly.
They're all really good guys, and they're all good team guys. So it makes it that much easier for when they come over that they fit right into the team right away. And the biggest thing that helps is that most of them know English really well.
Really well.
So they come over, and there's not. I'm not taking anything away from the Czechs and Slovaks. Because we have a couple here that they don't speak the best English, but they try and they make sure that they're involved in the room, and they're they're part of the team. They do everything they can, but it makes it that much easier for the Swedes. They come over and they don't have trouble communicating, and so that makes them feel part of the team a lot quicker than some other guys. So, I mean, but they, like I said, they have so much skill that they all seem to be all poised players that can hold on to a puck and let a play develop before making it. So I mean, they've obviously found a good recipe, and they've only gotten better and better over the years.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Landon, thank you very much. I totally appreciate you coming on and talking to us. Congratulations last year on winning that cup. You guys did a phenomenal job doing it. And I know for a guy like Luke Glendening, it was probably the dream come true for him, seeing his hometown team like Grand Rapids win that championship and then being able to get to do so much. So you guys have done a great job there. The Detroit system is just phenomenal right now, and I think the change in hockey has been great for Grand Rapids because Detroit's had to change, obviously, with the systems. But congratulations. Thank you very much for coming on. We totally appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.